Like always, today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors: gluten-free diet water, premium junk clothing, Williamson wines, Good Dudes coffee, gluten-free diet water. Stay hydrated with a refreshing twist, perfect for those health-conscious listeners. Premium junk clothing, for those who love to express their unique style with high-quality fashion pieces. Visit premiumjunkclothing.com and use code EverydayGSD15 at checkout. Williamson Wine, natural artisan wine from Napa and Sonoma. Good Dudes Coffee, veteran-owned by former Navy SEAL Josh Bridges. Every cup is brewed with passion and dedication to quality. Visit their website at gooddudescoffee.com and use discount code EverydayGSD10 for an exclusive offer. And also, don't forget to visit the Everyday GSD store at darinbibeau.com for all your official Everyday GSD merchandise. And now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Everyday GSD podcast. Today's special guest, Josh Springer, hailing from Aberdeen, Washington. But you don't live there now, so you didn't just fly in for the show, but it'd be great if you did.
Would it?
Yeah, it would be. You'd be really tired. You'd be like, man, I can't believe I signed up for this shit.
I'm tired.
Hey, thank you for being on the show. You got a really impressive resume. I'm not going to read everything, but I am going to throw a few things out there, and then we're going to just jump into it. You've appeared on the History Channel, Discovery Channel, MTV, HGTV, which is one of my wife's favorite channels. Full disclosure, I watch it too. Man Caves, CNN, and multiple other channels. You're the inventor of the world-changing bottoms-up beer dispenser.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're rocking out one of those shirts right now, which I love, and you're rocking out a GSD hat. So
I had to swap the hats.
I appreciate that. You started this idea began in your garage, and it's a company that now trades in over 50 countries. You were this. I love this. This is an idea that came to you while you were being indicted in the largest steroid case in the U.S. history.
Yes.
Okay, I want to make sure that's the correct information because, there's going to be some people watching this or listening to this going, wait, what did he just say? He created this amazing idea. He's an entrepreneur. He's been on all these shows, and he was indicted in the largest steroid case. Okay, I got that straight. Your story is incredible. It's relatable. And most importantly, hilarious because you're also a stand-up comedian.
I am, yes.
And you teach comedy and you do a bunch of things with comedy and all of that good stuff. But we're not going to get into that. You're also, we will get into that, but not right now. And you're also a veteran of podcasts. You've been on multiple podcasts, and you actually had your own podcast. And what was the name of the podcast? Launchpad. Let's just jump into it.
Yeah,
let's pretend I'm on your show, Launchpad.
Where do you want to go? Welcome to Launchpad.
Yeah, welcome. How's your intro? Was it as cool as mine?
I would do the intro after we did the show.
Oh yeah, we have that too.
So it's pretty lit. But I use all the information I got during the show to come up with a clever intro.
Okay.
For the show.
Good thought. I don't think
you should go back and watch my episode.
Yeah. Oh, you were on the show. That's right. You were on it. Yeah. It was probably.
You got really drunk.
So we drink on this show too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait to drive home.
Yeah.
I'm not going to drive. I'm going to Uber.
Yeah, you're going to Uber for sure. There'll be no driving from the studio.
Thank you.
And by the way, toast, and we're drinking some of Sam's wine once again, one of the sponsors, but the shout out already went out to him, but he knows that we love his wine. Okay, let's just jump into it, man. Tell me your story. So let's start off with the drug bust, man, or the indictment.
You want to start off with the drug bust?
No, how about this?
We can.
Why don't you, you know what? I'm going to flip this around. And by the way, I've got some questions from the audience that we're going to ask you a little bit later because I've already got those dialed in, which is kind of funny because they came in pretty quick. I want you to just start with you and tell me your whole story.
Okay, it's pretty open-ended. So I'm from Aberdeen, Washington, same hometown as Kurt Cobain. That's what I always say my claim to fame is. I didn't intend to be the inventor of the bottoms-up draft beer system, but it really did. Yeah, did come to me when I was facing a 5-year prison sentence for what was it? Distribution of anabolic steroids. I guess my uncle was making steroids. I got caught up in the conspiracy to distribute anabolic steroids was the charge.
Okay. Conspiracy to distribute.
Yeah. So it's
under the RICO Act.
Yeah. So it was, I don't remember every detail, just the high level stuff now. But it was, I wanted to ask my girlfriend to marry me. and I was working side jobs to try to save up enough money. I was going to do it in secret. I wanted to surprise her with a 2-week trip to Cabo San Lucas.
Cabo.
I was going to propose on Lovers Beach. It was going to be amazing.
Nice.
Right? So I was doing this. I've always been a workaholic. Always working my day job, working side jobs, working for my soon-to-be father-in-law's heating and air company, refrigeration company, doing refrigeration stuff. And I was always doing that, but now I'm trying to save money. And she knew about the side jobs, and that was our fun money, right? So that was like our income was me doing all of this. And when I started trying to save money, all of a sudden, all that side money went away because I was stocking it away, trying to do it in secret.
Right.
Which, if you're gone all the time and you're trying to save money in secret, it also could look like something
suspicious.
else. Yes, very suspicious.
Very suspicious.
Very suspicious. So you've been gone,
like filling up beer from the bottom of the glass.
Why is that suspicious?
I don't know.
Okay.
You tell me.
It's not.
Actually, I love that whole concept, and we'll talk about that after.
But let's see. How did that come about? My so my uncle found out what I was doing. Well, I remember I was working in my garage one day, and my uncle's like, "Hey, I'll pay you to mow my lawn." And I'm like, "Oh, that's really nice. I appreciate that, but I'm an electrician. I can do HVAC. I'm not going to come mow.
I'm not sure if $10 for mowing your lawn is really going to save the money."
Exactly. And he's like, "I'll pay you $100 to come mow my lawn." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome. It's a tiny lawn. I'll come do it. You're trying to be nice. You get what I'm trying to do." So I go mow his lawn, $100. A week later, he calls me. He's like, "Hey, I need to wire in a hot tub. Come wire in the hot tub." Pays me like a ridiculous amount of money to do that. Another week, he pays me a ridiculous amount of money to do something else. And I'm like, "What's going on here? You're on disability. Like, where are you?
Yeah.
Where are you getting all this money to pay? I appreciate it, but where are you getting all this money to pay me this ridiculous amount of money to do these stupid things?" And he says, "Well, I'm making steroids."
So he was actually manufacturing them.
He was manufacturing steroids. Yeah.
Wow, I think that's impressive.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. I'm from Aberdeen. I can make meth. But
Someone's
I
making. I was like, they're making. I was just gonna say they're making meth.
They're making meth.
That's crazy.
Somebody's got to make it.
Someone has to make it. Typically, it's a pharmaceutical company. But anyway, continue.
I mean, you can make anything. Yeah. So I was at his house working on a project, and he comes in a frantic, and he's like, "Hey, I really need your help with a shipment. I really need your help." And I'm like, it's cool that you're making steroids, but I really don't want to be.
But were you thinking of steroids as like an illicit drug like cocaine and heroin, or were you just like steroid bodybuilders using it? It's their thing?
I didn't place it as being anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't akin it to meth or cocaine or heroin or anything like that.
And really it shouldn't be, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But anyway.
He was just trying to make baseball great again,
Yeah.
But I was...
The comedy comes out. Don't stop.
And I said no. And he said, "I will pay you."
So why did you say no?
Because I did know it was illegal.
Correct. Right? You just were uncomfortable with the situation.
Yeah, I didn't want to be. I said no.
Yeah.
For some reason I said
no.
No.
For sure.
But give me a second.
Yeah.
He said, "I'll give you $400 for 30 minutes of your time."
Ooh.
And I said, "Where are we going?" So
whose car?
Yeah, exactly. So it turns out we went to what really resembled an abandoned house, because it was. And now I had another part-time job helping him make steroids, and became really easy to save in secret, right? So this really helped.
Right.
My mission of saving for the surprise proposal
in
Cabo San Lucas. Pulled off the surprise proposal in Cabo San Lucas. It went well, or unfortunately went well. And I'm really tight. Like, this is a much longer story, but
we got all day.
We do, but we want to talk about business too, right? So
most important. But I like this story too.
Yeah.
This starts it all.
This is the origin story of Bottoms Up, right? So let's see. So the feds started watching him, and he caught wind of that. He quits making steroids. But now I'm trying to save for a wedding. I'm trying to do everything I can, all the side jobs I can. And I had a sign company in my garage. I make signs, letter trucks. Yeah. And I'd just gotten a pretty big sign job
gig. Yep.
For a wealthy business owner, entryway sign for his house, and his last name. And he quits making steroids, and now I'm coming in and out of my windowless garage at odd hours working on this sign project.
Right.
So the feds start watching me.
And you're working on a sign at this point.
Yes, I am. I'm
I
not
mean, really.
Yes,
I mean, like,
actually.
truthfully. Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
So now, so I had a bachelor party. It wasn't disappointing. It was a great bachelor party, but it was disappointing in the reason that a lot of my friends couldn't come on the bachelor party, and I was at work complaining about it to a friend, and he he said, "Don't worry about it, man. We'll come get you SWAT team style and take you on a bachelor party." So now, flash forward 3 days before my wedding, the feds are watching me come in and out of my garage make signs. They think I'm the one making steroids. And 3 days before my wedding.
Is this DEA or ATF?
DEA.
Yeah.
It's about 5 o'clock in the morning. My now ex-wife says, "I'm going to take the flowers to my mom's house. I'll see you later for the wedding." And about 5 minutes after she leaves the house, full-blown SWAT team comes rocking into my house.
Yeah, your boys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wink,
bachelor party.
wink. Bachelor party. Yeah.
I thought I thought it was my friends.
You're like, let's go, guys.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm in my boxers. It's still groggy-eyed. And they say, "Put your hands up." I go, "Wait." I wave them off. I'm like, "Whatever," and they, "Put your hands up now." And I go, "If you're going to be that serious about it."
Yeah, I'll play the game.
Yeah. And they say, "Come around the bed." I start coming around the bed, dancing. I think I yelled strippers. Like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. I come all the way around the bed, and one of the lead guy, he slaps me in the face, and he says, I think he said, "Keep smiling, asshole." And I said, "Is this for real?" And he said, "Yeah, what the fuck did you think it was?" And I said, "I thought it was my friends coming to get me for my bachelor party."
Right.
Wow.
Because, I mean, you really thought that.
Yeah, I really did think that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at gunpoint.
Yeah.
A lot of guns. There were like 26 DEA agents coming in all sides of the house.
Yeah.
And I was
They're
dancing.
mad. They're mad you're making signs.
Yeah, dancing and yelling strippers. They thought it was so funny. One of them was laughing so hard that he fell down my front steps. He was laughing so hard. And now I hear the radios. I hear my uncle's name.
And this is in Washington.
This is in Washington, yeah. And I hear my fiance. They tackled her in the front yard, threw her in the back of a cop car. She's screaming, "You think this is fucking funny, motherfuckers? You think this is funny? You got the wrong house." And I'm like, "Nah, they don't have the wrong house."
But she has no idea about the steroids.
She had no idea. No.
Right.
Yeah.
And where's your uncle's house compared to this?
I had one town over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in Montesano, Washington.
Yeah, but they're watching you because.
Well, they were watching everybody. They were watching him. They were watching. There was another guy, but yeah. So, anyways, I end up arrested, and I'm like the eternal optimist, right? So I'm like, this all happens. They took me up to county jail. They booked me. They had to strip search me, which I thought was funny. Thankfully I just showered. So the guy that had to strip search me, I'm like, "You're so glad I just showered." And how shitty is his job, by the way? He's got to check buttholes all day. That's got to be awful.
I mean, it's not good.
It doesn't sound fun. So yeah, that's his life, and I have this one now. So sorry, dude. Anyway, they let me go, and I come back, and they'd completely.
And you're a comedian now.
Yeah, and I'm a comedian.
Yeah, just for the record.
They completely tossed the house. You ever seen those cartoons where like the cartoon character opens the door and like all the stuff falls out?
Yeah.
They had taken the entire contents of my house and shoved it into one bathroom. So like everything that was ever in the house is now in this bathroom. It looked like that. You open the door, it's like spilling out.
Right.
So that, yeah, they deep searched the house. So I don't know if I'm sure you know this, but when you bust somebody for drugs, you take all of their stuff. You take their cars, you take their money, you take everything they have. I had a bunch of cash. They let me keep. I had cash for the vendors to pay the wedding vendors. They let me keep everything. Let me keep our passports, so we could go on our honeymoon.
Really?
Yeah. Let us keep the cars. I'm thinking, I really hadn't done anything in my mind, and I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna be fine. They're gonna let me go. It's gonna be okay." Go on the honeymoon,
You left the country after that?
Yeah. So it's so the wedding happens. That's very tense because
What year is this? 1962?
What year was it? 2007, I think.
It's wild to me.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So you can see where I'm coming from, where I'm like, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But it's Monday. We're getting ready to go on our honeymoon. And I'm like, it's going to blow over. It's going to be just fine. But then when we're at the airport, like we're watching the TVs, and one of the news things that comes up is largest steroid bust in U.S. history. Arrested in correlation, Ray Ross, Jeff Thompson, and Josh Springer. And I'm like, what the fuck?
And you're Josh, for the record.
I am Josh Springer. And my phone starts blowing up, and I'm like, fuck. Thankfully I got to get on an airplane, go to Bermuda, and that was back when you didn't have cell phone service. When you're out of the country, you'd use a payphone and shit.
Right.
And man, that wasn't that long ago, was it? Anyway, I thought, I come back and I thought, oh, that was it. It just, media got a hold of it, blew it out of proportion, not going to be a big deal. A couple weeks go by, and my attorney calls me and he says, hey, you gotta come into my office. It's really not good. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? He's like, you just got to come to my office so we can talk about this. Can't talk to you over the phone about it.
You're like, I'd prefer not to come to your office.
Anyways, I get to his office and he hands over this thick packet of paperwork and he says, they got you on a conspiracy charge. You're looking at 5 years in prison. I'm like, what do you mean I'm looking at 5 years in prison? I haven't done anything. He's like, they got you in 5 years. They got you on a conspiracy charge.
Yeah, conspiracy. Yeah.
You're just as guilty as the head guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I'm like, well, with all due respect, he's a small town attorney, I think, anyway. And he was a small town attorney. That was a fact. And I'm like, I'm gonna fight this. So I mortgaged my house, took $26,000, spent it all on an attorney, sent all the paperwork to him. He calls me up and he says, I got some bad news.
You mortgaged your house for nothing.
They got you on a conspiracy charge. You're looking at 5 years in prison.
Yeah.
That was that. And I mean, I was indeed looking at 5 years in prison. And it's, so let's see, all that happened.
That's when reality hit in and you're like, fuck, or were you still glasses half full?
I'm an always glass half full kind of guy. So I'm always looking for the positive in all that.
Hence bottoms up.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's probably because
I got jokes too.
No, I invented, bottom filling was top of mind because I was looking at 5 years in prison.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No, I got you. I was like,
I think you do have that sound effect on there.
But
No, I don't.
Is it that button?
I think it.
No. No.
Yeah,
you did.
There we go.
There we go.
I should use these more often. And Justin's like, no.
Please don't.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, where were we?
So you're looking at 5 years, and you mortgage the house, $26,000, and you're like, "Fuck, where we at?"
Yeah. So what do they call that interview? He basically says all you can do now is cooperate. So I go to the interview. I actually ended up learning more from them than I knew about the whole operation.
Meaning about the whole
magnitude of the steroid operation.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was involved in the world's largest steroid operation, or the United States
United States
U.S. history.
Yeah,
you get it. Wine's going to my head. No, it's the Zen. That's what's doing it.
Yeah.
But so my attorney says, I had a sentencing guideline. I don't remember the name of it. Some sort of meeting to advise on the sentencing guidelines.
Mediation?
Something. I don't know. And my attorney says, just be honest with him. This is not legal advice, but don't ever just be honest with him. They're like, do you ever smoke pot? Occasionally. How many drinks do you have? I don't know, like 10 a day. So I get the sentencing guideline in the mail, and it's recommending, I think it's 2 years in prison, rehab, like all this stuff. And I'm like,
and is it like steroid rehab?
No, that's the fuck of the thing. It's like, it's rehab for drugs.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm not doing drugs.
I'm not doing drugs. Even when I was on probation, I had to do drug tests, and they weren't testing for steroids. Like, it's silly stuff.
Right.
But I was just devastated. And I'm not a spiritual person. But I was like, me and my fiance, or I guess she's now my wife, got in a huge knockdown, drag out fight, like screaming at each other, and like, I'm gonna lose everything. We're gonna lose our house. I'm gonna lose my job.
Right.
Lose everything I've ever worked for in my entire life.
And this is the wife that you were going to go to Cabo with.
Yes.
Okay.
Went to Cabo with.
Yeah.
Went to Bermuda with. Went to Cabo with. And I'm out in my garage, and I'm just like crying, like sobbing, like. And my mom passed away when I was 7 years old, and I'm like, hey, if you're looking out for me, like, now would be a really good time, right?
Send me a bird.
Yeah, send me something. And it was, I think, like 4 or 5 days later, I was at my dad's birthday party at a Mexican restaurant in Aberdeen, Washington, and I was sitting across from my dad, We're sitting around the table, family style, having dinner. And I saw in a daydream a pitcher of beer filling up through the bottom. And I stood up, I stopped every conversation at the table, and I said, hey, you guys know what'd be cool? A pitcher of beer that fills up through the bottom. And everybody's like, what? Like, sit down and have another margarita, you know, like, what are you talking about? And my dad, the only person to understand what I was describing upon describing it, said, yeah, that'd be cool, but if it could be done, somebody would have already done it.
Right.
And I immediately had an idea and then a challenge from the person I want to prove wrong most in my life.
Right.
And now I had something to focus all the negative energy on, right? So you've probably never been arrested in some sort of, world's largest steroid bust, but they're on you. Like, they're calling me once a week saying they're going to come cut up my floorboards. Like, it's stressful. It's very, very stressful. But now I had something to focus all of that negative energy on, and it was solving a problem that didn't exist, which was filling a beer through the bottom. And so 2 days later, I called my dad up and I said, hey, I figured out the perfect name for it. I'm going to call it the Bottoms Up Beer Dispenser. And he's like, that's a great name for it, but have you figured out how to do it yet? And I was like, no, I haven't figured it out.
No, but I have a name, Dad.
I haven't figured out the name.
I even have a logo.
That's like the best part or the hardest part. And hang up the phone. And then 2 days later after that, I called him up and I said, so 4 days later, I figured it out. I called him up and said, hey, I figured it out. Come check this shit out. And I had a working prototype made out of.
In 4 days, you had a working prototype.
4 days, I had a working.
So how walk me through that?
Oh, I just started putting it together. Car parts, just stuff I had laying around the house. A pitcher I got from a bar down the road. Drilled a hole in it. Magnets. Put the magnets together, and it worked. Picnic tap turned upside down. Car door actuator from an old truck.
So
worked awesome.
I mean, first of all, I think the whole system's pretty fucking badass.
Hang on, wait. Where's your uncle? Is he in prison?
He had to cooperate for a year on the steroids boards, like trying to infiltrate people, which that had to be terrible. And he ended up doing a year.
And did you go to prison?
I did not go to prison. So that's even better. So I end up.
Then we're gonna go back to my last question.
Sentencing day comes along, and I am.
The good news about the RICO Act is you're either fucked or they're like, you know what, you're and is that my second time? Sorry, Mom. So the good news about the RICO Act, either you're completely screwed or they're like, you know what, he really isn't involved. We're gonna try to get as much information out of him as we can, and then we're gonna make his life hell, and then we're done with him.
So I had no information to give, and I think they figured that out pretty quickly.
Yeah, but it's like hit or miss.
Well, good. Thank you, RICO Act. Not. But
yeah.
So I wait, what was I going to say? I don't know. Damn it.
You were on the prototype.
No, it was.
We were past that, Justin.
It was the sentence I got was the best thing that ever happened to me. So I had to fly down to San Diego because it was a federal case. It was based out of San Diego.
Yeah.
And Judge John, we're in court, and I'm wearing a suit that's like 2 sizes too big for me. We went to the men's.
But it is 2007.
I mean, maybe, or the men's. When I went to the men's warehouse to get my suit, I told him what it was for, and he knew what he was doing. You know, he made me look just a little pathetic. It was fantastic.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah. But we're down in San Diego, and the guy before me, he like gets. I don't remember. It was like 10 years in a day, which when they add that day, it means you got to do the full 10 years. My attorney's like, oh God. And, that was another thing. He's like, all you can do now my attorney's like, all you can really do now is get letters of character. So I got like 47 letters of character.
47.
Yeah.
That's
a shitload of them.
Yeah. Cause you're shooting for 3 to 5.
3 to 5 letters of character.
Yeah.
I got 47.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like
I went to work,
like you hustle.
And but I'm down there, I'm about to be sentenced, and the prosecuting attorney had actually written a letter saying, hey, like, dumb kid, wrong.
And remind me, how old are you about this time?
24.
Okay, so you're an adult, though. I mean, by all standards.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And, he said to the judge, like, I think we could probably just let him go. He's been through a lot. Like, we can just let him go. And the judge, I'll never forget, says, we can't do that. And I was like, oh, God.
You're like, come on, man.
Please.
He just advised you.
Yeah, Judge John A. Houston. I'll never forget his name. It's on April Fool's Day as well. He says,
"Oh, the court case is April 1st."
It was on April 1st.
It only.
I just had my.
No wonder you have such good stand-up comedy.
And he says, we're going to go with time served, which was the 30 minutes I spent in county, and three months house arrest and 3 years probation. And the 3 months house arrest
with the bracelet.
Yeah. Was the best thing that could have ever happened to me because
you got to focus on the business now.
Yeah. Well, the company I was working for, I was a manager at that company, or I would manage either production in-house or run a road crew doing sign installations all over the state. We just landed a huge job. Most of it was in Eastern Washington, but I couldn't go. I had to be home by 5 every day. So from 5 to 2 o'clock in the morning, I would work on bottoms up. And we had we had been like hustling, trying to get. We raised most of the money, the first amount of money to get started, with the ankle bracelet on.
Not from steroids.
Not from steroids. No.
No.
And God damn it! Quit interrupting me.
It's gonna happen all day, man.
And
you raised most of the money.
Okay. But we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do, and we're like, I know what we'll do. We'll set a world record for the number of beers dispensed in a minute or an hour or whatever it is.
Right. Okay.
And we got a hold of Red Hook Brewery in Woodinville, Washington.
Yep.
Because their slogan is to defy ordinary. We're like, this is perfect. So we sent them an email saying, hey, would you sponsor this? We're gonna that's how we were gonna get them to pay for the next prototype. Is we're gonna get them to pay for the next prototype. Nothing existed, just that first prototype. And
and do you have any business experience besides this? Meaning like any education in the business world?
No, like formal business education.
Right. Okay.
Like
awesome.
Working in business.
Yeah.
Families, all entrepreneurs. But so we're gonna do that, and they say come up in 2 weeks to meet with our marketing guy, and we'll figure something out. It'll be great. They email the next day and say, hey, can you come up next week? And we had a movie night, and the beer line was 45 minutes long. Like, your machine sounds like it'd be awesome. You know, can you imagine being at a brewery and the beer line is 45 minutes long? Like, that's a real problem.
For a movie night, that's 2 hours.
Exactly. And exactly.
I mean,
and so I say like, oh man, it's too bad we didn't have anything. Too bad this can't happen. And I come home and I'm just kind of decompressing to the wife, and she says, well, could you do it? And I said, yeah, I'd have to take the week off work, but I think I'd get it done. And it kind of felt like I had to, because the day the movie night was the day I got to cut my ankle bracelet off. So we worked 24/7 or 24/6, literally 24/6. Me and my friends working in shifts, working on this prototype, working on making all the cups. And I got to cut my ankle bracelet off. And I put in my 2 weeks notice, and I've been doing bottoms up ever since.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absolutely wild if you think about it.
A lot of serendipitous shit there.
Yeah. And I think that, I mean, and you probably have heard this a million times, but I think one of the crazy parts of that story is that everything kind of lined up when everything was falling apart.
Yeah, it's kind of my whole life. I like to tell people my life is just a series of fortunate misfortunes.
Yeah. And what did you say earlier to me that I really liked? You said, I've re-looked at this a bunch of times. But you talked about it for your comedy. What is it called?
A positive degenerate.
Yeah.
It's like the world is falling around.
Yeah.
Falling apart around me, and I'm like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, it's going to be okay.
It'll be fine.
And you had no idea what the magnitude of I mean, you knew what you were doing to some degree in the illegal entity, we'll call it. But I don't think probably at that age you had no idea what the RICO Act was.
No.
Or you had no idea what the charges were really, when they're like, oh, you can face 5 years in jail. You're like, well, I didn't really do anything. I'm fucking good.
I had not a clue of the magnitude of what I was involved in.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. And now, do you still have a relationship with your uncle?
No, not a relationship. I mean, I'd call him a friend still, but I don't talk to him.
Yeah. If he reached out to you and needed something, would you help him?
Yeah, if I could.
Yeah.
He's not a bad dude. He's a good dude.
Yeah. I mean, so how and we're going to move past this because there's so much more I want to discuss. So how did he create? How was he manufacturing the steroid?
I don't remember fully how he got involved in it.
Was he actually like the what do you call it? The
chemist?
The chemist? Or did he have someone? Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't complicated. You just take powders and mix them with oils, and
yeah. He's like, this is nothing, no big deal.
I mean, compared to what I know now, it's not a big deal.
What's that TV show that I started to watch but I never watched it? And everyone watched it.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. Yeah. Did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so I didn't really like it. I watched a couple episodes, but I don't think I was paying attention or something because I was like, I'm just not into this show. But there's so many other shows I like that I tell my friends, oh, I watch this. Like, oh, Breaking Bad's way better. If you like that show, you'd love this one. But I think my wife never went really back to it. But everyone says you got to watch it.
I'd give it another go. It's fantastic. I've watched it probably 3 times.
Oh, really? Yeah, I probably should. Yeah, it's wild. So now all of a sudden you produce for, is it Red Hook Brewery? You said
we did the event for Red Hook Brewery. Yeah.
See, I was listening.
We never talked to him again because I'm pretty sure we look like a bunch of crackheads showing up with we hadn't slept for a week trying to get this shit done.
But how fast were they pouring beers?
People
got to watch the damn movie.
So what's really funny is the morning that we were supposed to go up there, they sent us an email and said, "Hey, it's going to rain out. You don't need to come up. Not a big deal. Never mind." And we're like, if we dispense 1 beer, it'll be fine. Like we have to come up.
We're on our way.
So we sent a video of it filling. But this is back when a digital camera recorded, and it would record sound and audio. But on the camera, it would only play back not sound and audio, video and sound. And it would only play back the video on the phone. It wouldn't play the sound back, or not the phone, but the camera. And we were listening to System of the Down because we're trying to stay awake. So the very first bottoms up beer that is pouring, you just got System of the Down screaming "fuck" in the background. So we sent this video to Red Hook Brewery, and if they had sound on their computers, fuck.
Yeah, they're like, this is not going to work out.
They let us come up, and it was awesome.
And so the product that you've created, now you know it works. You've got the prototype.
Yes.
And how are you bringing this to market?
Yeah. See, I don't know, and nobody knows. Nobody knew. I remember we went up, and so my dad loaned me the money to get the patent process started.
And if you mind, how much you want to share? How much that is, or no?
I don't remember. I think it was $5,000 for the retainer.
So a small amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we went up, and we went up, and we had a meeting with the attorneys. And we're telling them about it, and they're like, "Yeah, this is what you do." And I'm like, "Do you want to see it?" And they're like, "Wait, this exists?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's in the back of my truck. You want to come check it out?" They're like, "No, but that's pretty cool that it exists."
Yeah, because typically you'd be doing that first and then building it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
So, and we were like, oh, the attorneys are going to know what to do next. No, that's not true. Nobody knows what to do next. So
right.
We just had to start figuring it out.
And so you're at this point, you're still in Washington.
Yes.
And so when did you start moving across the country selling the product?
So we raised enough money through the friends and family round. So this is in 2008. And
so 1 year after you're indicted.
1 year, yep.
Yeah.
And we're working our asses off trying to make it work. And we figured out, that, okay, friends and family round.
And let me interrupt. I apologize.
Yeah,
when you say we, it's you and who?
Me and my friends, and a guy by the name of Mike Price is a very good friend.
And you say friends, there's 5 of you or 3 of you? There's just a couple of you?
On and off, probably 10 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anybody could get to work for free and booze and pizza,
Right.
Who's working
on it. You guys are just hustling.
Yeah. Doing everything you can to get it.
Duct taping it together.
Yeah, quite literally.
Yeah.
And we 2008 housing market crashes.
Yes.
And there was so we'd gotten to angel rounds, and nobody would take. I think we made it to 1 second meeting with angel investors because all these guys that had bank financing lined up lost their bank financing and had to go back to angel rounds. So you can invest in 2 kids still working out of a garage with no proven track record in any way, shape, or form. Or you're going to go with the company that had bank financing and lost it. You're going to go with the company that had bank financing and lost it.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're hustling our asses off trying to do that. None of it's working out. So we just kind of continue. Like, we've technically never had a Series A round. It's all been friends and family. And
do you remember how much you raised with friends and family?
All in, I think we raised about $3 million.
That's a good number for friends and family.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got creative with who's a friend and family, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's a round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For sure. But we got
and that was you guys hustling, going out and getting the money.
Correct.
I mean, that's a business in itself.
Yeah, no. So I could talk about that too. Like, there was a day I started, we're still raising money, and it takes, if you're going to have the fundraising hat on, you have to have the fundraising hat on. If you're going to have having a profitable company hat on, you have to have the profitable company hat on. They're different hats. They're completely different hats. You're either selling the product to make the company run that way, or you're selling the product to get money from investors. And that's, we had just closed, I think it was $56,000 we'd brought in. And
I just want to reiterate, you did not go to college or any kind of education for business, raising money, Schedule A, Schedule C, angel investing rounds, any of the shit. Just, you mentioned that already, but I just got to throw that out there. And you also do comedy, but it's true. Correct? Am I correct with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No formal education. No.
Yeah. Okay. Just want to.
I'm a community college dropout.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We've all been there. the guys in the back over there going, yes.
Yeah. We are, so we had got to the point where we had a product that we were trying to sell. Like we had got hooked up with a company.
I get it, man. I love it.
So we had a successful trial at the Anaheim Angels, a successful trial at UNLV. UNLV was our first customer. We sold the Supercross Finals, 2008 Supercross Finals. We sold them completely out of draft beer 2 hours before the event was over. And they were like, sign us up. Let's do a bar at the Thomas and Mack Center. So that,
and because you guys are setting up the whole system at this point.
Yes.
To show this is what you guys should have. You're trying to sell a whole system.
Yeah. So it is a whole system.
No,
so,
I know, but like
yeah.
when you're going to an event, you're bringing the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you're bringing dispensers and converting their bars.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're supplying the alcohol, but you've got your system.
Correct. Yeah. So on all these trials, we gave them the dispensers. They had to buy cups. That was the.
Does Brockaway Pub have this system? I feel like it does.
He would know.
I mean, he's probably got so many customers.
Know.
Yeah, he's probably got
Well,
I don't even. Where is this place?
I know our state fairground does.
the state fairground does. The Indiana State Fairground.
They had it for their beer garden. Now they don't.
Well, we should get it back in there because
Yeah,
it's faster. Then we don't have to wait in line so long. No, but I feel like I know Brockaway has some water thing, but I feel like they have the bottoms up. Anyway,
where is this? Is it in here?
Yeah,
in Indiana?
in Carmel. Yeah.
No, they don't. Carmel would be. I think I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
We have places in Carmel for sure.
But. Yeah, for sure. Anyway.
Anyway, we're making so we had these successful trials. Boston Red Sox, great trial there, and now we thought sporting events would be the best place to sell it because that's where you have to wait in the beer line. That's where we started, right? That's what we're trying to eliminate is the beer line. And so now we're back home. We had just moved into a bigger facility, and it's my job to make the equipment work, and it's Mike's job to sell it. And he's not selling it. And he's like, just people don't understand what I'm trying to explain. And we were worried that if a video got out, it would go viral. And so we're trying to be careful with that. And because we didn't want to grow too fast, we didn't want to get too big and get out of our depth too quickly. And he's like, hey, what we really need to do is build a demo unit and drive down the West Coast and show everybody. We'll just stop at all these places. Minor League Baseball would be a great place to sell this thing. We'll just show everybody the demo unit, and we'll make our way up to spring training, hopefully meet a bunch of people from the teams there. And we had just landed who was still our lead investor. And he's like, yeah, I have a place. He loves spring training. I got a place in Arizona. You can stay there. I'm like, no, we can't do that. And this is usually not me. Usually I'm the one that's like, yeah, let's go. Like, let's do it.
Yeah, we're all in.
We're all in. And we had just gotten a new building, and I'm like, we got like $6,000 in our account. Rent's like $6,000. So
you guys are rich.
We probably shouldn't do that. He's like, okay, you help me with sales for 2 weeks, and we'll reconvene. So I helped him with sales for 2 days. I got the GM of the new Meadowlands Stadium on the phone. The guy basically calls me a liar and hangs up on me.
Because he doesn't believe your system, or he
doesn't believe the numbers. He doesn't believe, so it's 100% keg yield. Everywhere we put the system, the sales increased well over 20%, like just wild numbers, like really crazy, great numbers from all these trials.
Like in your mind, you're like, everyone should be using this.
In my mind, I'm like, they're going to see these numbers and all buy it immediately. Like it doesn't make any sense that they wouldn't, right? So I go back into his office and I'm like, you know what we should do? We should build a demo unit. We should drive down the West Coast and show all these people, and we'll get what we're saying. He's like, great idea, you dick.
Yeah.
So we built a demo unit in 3 days, and we got in the van and we started driving down the West Coast.
And how much beer are you drinking at this point?
Loads.
Too much,
yeah.
Right? You're like, God, I'm drinking so much beer. You're like, trust me, it's great.
Yeah. But it worked great. I mean,
yeah.
we would show up to these places with a demo unit, and people would say, so-and-so is not available. And before they could finish their sentence, we'd set a beer on the dispenser and they'd be like, I'll go get him. And so we're pitching all the way down the West Coast. We're pitching.
And doesn't it pour a perfect beer too?
Yeah.
Like every time.
Unless there's something wrong.
Well, I mean,
yeah. For the most part.
If working properly.
Properly, it pours the perfect beer.
Yeah.
So,
because if a keg is working properly, it just still doesn't pour a perfect beer.
Yeah, beer's beer. I mean, sometimes you get a bad keg.
Yeah,
for sure. But we're coming through Vegas on our way to spring training, and our guy at UNLV is like, "Hey, one of the GMs of the MGM Grand was just here, and they want to try it over at their property." So we go do spring training. We come back, and we're at the MGM, and it just happened to be that two higher ups from Anheuser-Busch were at the MGM Grand, just doing a tour.
Just happened to be there.
Yeah. But we'd been pitching for 2 weeks on the road, so we were like on it. So the guys from Anheuser-Busch are hitting us left and right with all these questions, and we're knocking out of the park. He's like, okay, well, Anheuser-Busch doesn't really buy equipment or anything, but, let me take a cup and let's go, maybe we'll do, at least we'd like to know about it. So we get a call, I don't know, a week later, 2 weeks later. I'm living in the Hooters Hotel and Casino. That's a fun story. You want to hear that one?
I do.
So
I think the listeners do too.
We're at
this is when it goes to rated R, or what is it?
No.
We're already explicit. What is it called? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yeah, Hooters.
So Hooters. It's an Oyo, or it's not open anymore. But we are at Big League Weekend at the Las Vegas 51 Stadium doing a demo. Just doing our thing. And I still remember the look on this guy's face as he's walking by. He does a double take, kind of stutter steps, and then just keeps going. And then all of a sudden he comes back with 5 guys. And he's like, I told you I saw it filling up from the bottom. And they're like, we thought he was high. He's usually high.
Right.
So we're bullshitting. And at the end of it, it's closing up. And the guy hands me a card. He's like, have you ever seen a Hooters girl pour a beer? It's awful. Come check it out. The guy's name's Eric Arnold. Great dude. But he has us come to the Hooters Hotel and Casino. And so Mike and I had been basically living out of the van, staying in the cheapest hotels possible. And this guy lets us live in the Hooters Hotel and Casino for a month. A month while we continue our trying to sell it around to all these different places. It's one of the nicest things anybody's ever done for us.
And at a deal.
What's that?
He's letting you live there at a deal.
We did a demo for them, and he put that against we did their St. Patrick's Day party, and he's like that, and they let us stay there for a month. So he just needed a check and balance. So it was a very good deal for us.
A great trade-off.
It was a great trade-off. But I think they were remodeling that wing now that I look back on it. But yeah, I didn't care. Yeah. But it was the first time we had our own rooms. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was
you guys
really
are
great.
Getting treated like kings.
Yeah. It was awesome. So anyway, the Hooters, not the Hooters, the Anheuser-Busch guys. So we do the thing at the MGM Grand, and then 2 weeks later or so, we get a call from the head of draft beer for Anheuser-Busch, and they're like, this is pretty cool. Can you guys come out in a month or so and just kind of show it to us? And we're like, yeah, that'd be awesome. They call us a day later, and they're like, come out in 2 weeks. And he calls another day later. He's like, can you guys come out in 3 days?
So you guys are hustling.
Yeah. No, we're definitely working our asses
off for sure.
But we end up going there, and this is funny too. We end up going there, and I'm the one pitching, and I'd been doing all of the pitching essentially. And Mike goes so anytime you go into a pitch, you go with everything you need. You go with everything you could ever need, and then you have backups for the backups for the backups. So you got it on a thumb drive, you got it in written form, you got everything you could ever need. And he goes to the Kinko's or the FedEx to print the decks, and the power goes out at the Kinko's. Okay. So he's like, I don't know what to do, man. The power has gone out. What should I do? I'm like, just wait for a minute, and we'll just hang on. So the power finally comes on. So also, I got to back up a little bit. The guy that is having us come out, he's like, do not fuck this up. This is your Super Bowl. Do not mess this up. Do not mess this up. Do not be late to this. Do not mess this up. So now the power goes out, and we're 10 minutes late, right? So you're
10 minutes late for your presentation.
For our presentation at Anheuser-Busch in St. Louis. And he gets back, and in the downtime,
Look at us. Look at these guys back there. They're like this. No.
in the downtime, while he was waiting for the power to come back on, he decides to add some slides. He's like, I thought I'd add this material because I think it's valuable. I'm like, dude, you can't add slides to a pitch I've been giving. Like that, what? What did you do? So he's like trying to iron his pants. I'm going through all the decks trying to find the pages he put in and rip the pages back out. Like, you son of a bitch.
And are you freaking out at this point?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
We're about to be late.
I mean, not like the DEA is coming in on you, but like you're freaking out.
Yeah, I actually, that's,
Yeah.
we can do that later. But, so then we get everything together. He finally gets his pants ironed. He's like, will you iron my pants? I'm like, I don't know how to iron pants. So anyways, he comes back and we're headed to the parking garage. He's like, I don't know where I parked the car. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know where you parked the car? He's like, I don't know where I parked the car. So we're like running around up and down the stairs, hitting the booper thing.
Tick, we gotta go.
We're 15 minutes late now. And like, we finally find
And
the car.
did you reach out to them and say, hey, this is the problem, we're running late? Or no, you're just like,
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Mike was in charge of coordinating it.
but at the end of the day, you're late.
Yeah, we're
At
definitely
the end of
late.
the day, you're late.
We get down to the exit, and he goes to get the card to get out, and he had lost the card. So now he hits
Like everything is falling apart.
everything's falling apart as much as it could possibly fall apart. And he hits the call button to like talk to the lady, but it's over like this crackly speaker, and she's got this thick
accent.
Yeah, we'll call it.
Yeah, I got you.
And, thank you. And so they start yelling at each other. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Do not yell at her. And
She has the gate key.
She hangs up on him, and he sits back in frustration. And I see that it's like $20 if you forgot your ticket. And I just miraculously had a $20 bill on me. I never had cash on me. Put the $20 bill in. We showed up 20 minutes late, 30. They say we showed up like way later than that, but by my clock. Anyway, they had we show up and they're not happy. Like, you can tell there's a group of 15 people, and now I know they're all C-level executives from Anheuser-Busch.
They're top dogs.
Top dogs. And they had flown in for this meeting, like, and we're late. We're two kids that they think had gone out drinking all night.
That don't know how to iron their pants and can't figure out how to get out of the parking garage.
Exactly.
I'm tracking. Yeah.
So we get there, and we had taken the demo unit from Vegas. The dispenser was on the demo unit. We had taken it and thrown it in this ratty ass green suitcase that had the handle broken on it. Like, we had to look like such trash when we showed up to Anheuser-Busch. But we show up, and I unzip the suitcase. I throw the dispenser on the cooler. I get it hooked up, and we're pouring beer in like 5 minutes. And
meaning like setup time.
Like, we were set up
fast.
time, bang. We're set up and we're pouring. And what saved our asses is they had scheduled time for setup. They'd scheduled like 45 minutes to get set up. So now we're ahead of schedule. Air in the room completely changes. We do our demo, knock the demo out of the fucking park, and long story short, we end up signing a deal with Anheuser-Busch for our first year of exclusivity with them was for $1 million, and they bought the sponsorship on the magnet. Like, it was the perfect deal.
So exclusive meaning you can only sell their brand of beers, or
so they used it as a market. So we didn't know it at the time, and they did not sell it to us like that.
Because did that kind of screw you over looking back at it now, or no?
No, it was our venture round.
Okay.
If you look at it like that,
Yeah.
you know, so it was and the deal eventually. So it was $1 million for exclusivity the first year. Excuse me, $500,000 for every year after, and I think we were hooked up with them for 4 years. And then they were also going to buy the sponsorship on the magnet in the bottom of the cup, along with it. So they're buying stuff and paying for exclusivity, and yeah, it worked great until it didn't work great.
And then it didn't work.
Well, and then it didn't work, and
Yeah.
I don't want to besmirch that relationship
So,
because
Justin, can you look up? So the Red Sox, there's a bar that I used to go to next to the Red Sox, in Boston, and they're known for this blueberry beer, but they have a bunch of beers, and I'm pretty sure they had this system, and it's your guys' system. But that's why I know you don't know all your customers because they're sons of them.
They have all their on their website, and the only thing in Boston literally I see is the Taco Bell canteen.
Nah, it's definitely not a Taco Bell. It was like a legit, like kind of like a what is it called? Like a yard house, but it wasn't a yard house.
I don't know.
Like a yard house has 100 beers. It was one of those, but I'm pretty sure Because remember I was telling you a story where I stuck my finger in the.
Mm-hmm. Was that the place?
I'm pretty sure that was the place.
That's where you fingered your bottom?
Yeah, I fingered my bottom. The bartender who was so nice was not nice anymore.
Well, we had a ton of placements with Anheuser-Busch, and that was another downside of the relationship is they bought a bunch of stuff and they just shipped it everywhere and didn't tell us where it went. So it made it very difficult to track and keep on top of it.
Right.
And they just treated it like a gimmick. So, there's still fallout to this day over that, where people had a bad experience with it just because they didn't know how to use it.
Yeah. Well, actually, and that was just a bad experience that I had during the moment after I had a good experience. And then, but ended up like, it was fine after that. I just realized it was more of my curiosity or the way my mind is. And I'm like, now how does this work? Like,
well, everybody's got to do it once.
Yeah.
You gotta, I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know either. I mean, I know why, cause we're curious.
It's mostly guys that do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Jonica stuck her finger in there. It's like, how's the beer standing there? She's like, yeah, whatever. Just drink the beer. Look how fast it came out.
You can figure it out after you drink the beer.
So where is your fact?
Yeah, that's true.
That would be the smart way to do it. Where's your best area for people using this product?
Oh, that's a good question. It's all based on population density. So all of our biggest concentrations of customers are all in the most densely populated areas of the United States.
Okay.
In the United States, but we've placed all over.
And you sell internationally too, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And then and who's manufacturing it now?
We do.
Well, you guys are doing that. And you're doing that right here in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And that's with the company. I had it earlier.
So that's something I didn't plan for, is that I invented the system thinking that somebody would like manufacture it for us. But turns out, like, so when you're trying to get a cup that fills up through the bottom, you have to have a cup with a hole in it, and calling people and asking for them to make a cup with a hole in it I got hung up on a lot, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. So not only did we have to invent the beer dispenser, we had to invent the systems that make the cups and the systems to make, like, you should come for a tour. It's really cool.
I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to. I think, Justin, you found the place?
No, the name of the company's GrinOn. Is that right?
Yeah. So when I had to come up with a name, so when you're filing for patents, you don't want to file a patent under your name, because if it eventually causes cancer in lab rats in California, you don't want to get sued for that. So you got to come up with a name, and then you file your patents under the name of the company. And I was trying to come up with a name for a company, and this is back when I was still working for the sign company. And we had another journeyman that I came up under. So I was a journeyman, and we had an apprentice that was working under the two of us. And he came in just all beat up one day, and he's like, "Dude, what? I can't not work under this guy anymore. Like he's just awful to work for."
Right.
And the guy was one of those guys where he knew if he was getting under your skin, he'd just do it more, right? And I'm like, "You just got to keep your grin on, and he'll leave you alone."
Keep your grin on.
Yeah. And it was a couple days later, I was like, "Oh shit, that's a great name for a company, GrinOn Industries."
GrinOn Industries. Yeah. That's it. I love it. And so that's the company that's here in Indianapolis.
Yep.
And then Justin just let me know it's called Beer Works in Boston. Pretty sure they have your system, or they did.
They probably did. They probably had it as a promotion through Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah, maybe, because it was right near the baseball stadium, and I remember going in there. I'm confident it was that, because I'm not a big beer drinker, and I know this is nothing to the show, but because I've been going back and forth with Justin over here while you're telling the story. So they had this blueberry beer, which actually, I'm not a beer drinker in general, but this blueberry beer was really good. But you can only drink a few of them. But there's also the time where you can only drink a few, and then because it's so good, you're like, I can have a few more.
Yes.
So it's that day you drink way more beers than you would normally drink a beer that's like a heavier beer, or like it had legit blueberries in it. And I remember, I'm confident it was that place. Yeah, if anyone from their company is listening to it and they're like, "We've never had that," and they're like, "I'm going to sue the Everyday GSD podcast," here's my answer to you. See, I didn't say it, Mom. You can't hear me. What a crazy story, though, the evolution that you've had to do to get to where you're at today. And today it's still a battle explaining to people that I think the coolest part about the whole system you invented, you created, is there's no waste to beer if used properly.
Yes, there's no waste. So that's waste.
So you yield the best. You're making the company's making the most money.
So waste has nothing to do with it. It just happens to have no waste because it's an automated beer dispense. But the benefit of the system is that it's hands-free. So like when you're in a busy bar, and so to pour a poorly poured beer is difficult. Like you're pouring the foam off. It's very time consuming, right? But you're stuck there doing that, right? So now you can just go click, 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 and set down however many beers you want, turn around, make a drink, grab a food order, run.
Because it pours the perfect amount of beer.
It stops and waits for you, yeah. So that's the benefit. Like it effectively.
It's just like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't everyone have this?
We're getting there. We're getting there. It's only been almost 20 years, but we're getting there.
It's crazy, though. I mean, if you really think about it, Justin, if you really think about it, like, come on. Sometimes I hear
we were going to put it in our restaurant, and I don't know how that conversation ever stopped, but we were considering it. I think it was just something to do with having to take out all the old shit and put in the new shit or something.
Well, people don't like change.
Yeah,
right?
no.
And people don't understand change. They don't want change. They don't like change.
We have a calculator that you can actually put your numbers in, and it'll tell you what it'll do for your bottom line. And I think the biggest problem with that calculator is the numbers that come out the other end are so unbelievable that people don't believe it.
So do you know KP? He owns Brockway Pub, Danny Boy, the Goat, and there's the new one he's opening. Great guy.
Danny Boy Brewing?
Yeah.
No.
So his name's KP, Kevin Paul. Mm-hmm. But after the show, I'll connect you with him.
Okay.
And then his brother actually is in Michigan, and he owns Warwater Brewery. I feel like that system would be great in all of those bars, just because they're pouring a lot of beers, and they do, like, for example, like you said, St. Patrick's Day when mm-hmm. you got hooked up in the hotel, like St. Patrick's Day, like those are the places to go for if you want to drink beer. Fire department's going to be there. They're putting on a big show. You're going to wait in line forever, and then you're going to get your beer. And by the time you get out of the line, your beer's empty. It's time to get back in line. But and he's a smart guy and understands like business. So yeah, I'll have to definitely hook you up. That's one thing on the show. We try to connect people with good people.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
it's not just for beer bars though. Like you guys know the Brass Ring in Fountain Square.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, so they put in a system because draft beer was taking away drink sales. Like they're a craft beer bar. They're not they're a craft cocktail bar, not a beer bar.
Well, Danny Boy's the beer bar. Brockway, I would say, is beer and booze. It's everything. And he makes his own alcohol too. He makes his own vodka, Buddha vodka. He's got other Buddha gin. He's got some other alcohol he makes. So I think that could be some opportunity for you at a local level, here.
Yeah.
But, it's always one step. But I think his brother's brewery too, up in Michigan. Yeah. I'm now my head's thinking, because I was like, God, I don't own a bar, but if I did,
VFW.
We don't pour enough beer.
We have a lot of VFWs.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, shitlets.
Well, we'll take a look at it though. I mean, you look at our numbers and be like, you don't pour enough beer. But maybe we do. I don't know how much draft beer we pour.
So
that's a Seth question.
There's a whole other angle with like the magnet in the bottom of the cup, so you can do a lot of fun stuff with that will help sell beer.
Yeah.
Or you can do like the magnets for fun events. And
yeah, we could do it. We could treasure. Would you say treasure hunt? Yeah. Well, I was just thinking it could be for someone who's killed in action or something. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for that. Yeah, we'll circle back after the show. Okay, so we've been at it almost an hour, but we still got more time because I've got some more questions for you, and we try to keep it about an hour. But so you're a comedian.
I am. Yeah.
How did we transition from this to being comedy?
So
or you're still doing this, and comedy is the side gig that you like to do.
Comedy's a side gig. It's a. I don't do anything like halfway, right? So I got after comedy like I would anything else. So
right.
But how I got into comedy was so I used to date a girl that's on a morning show here, and we got asked to do a celebrity stand-up event through Scott Long, local stand-up comic, and he puts on a charity event, celebrity stand-up, and we did it, or yeah, we both did it, and I killed, dude. Like I just murdered. Like absolutely knocked it out of the park.
And you wrote your own script?
Yeah, wrote my own.
So what's that process like?
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. I have an idea for a joke, and it was different then though. Like I mean,
you take out your little everyday GSD pad that I'll give you for later.
Yes.
And then you're like writing notes, or are you on your computer? Or
now how I write is I write down, like, I have a premise, and I'll send part of the premise on stage, and if it gets a laugh, I'll be like, okay, maybe I should write more on that. That's how I write now.
Right.
And then I'll get a joke to a certain point, and then I will write the joke down, write it out, what was said on stage, word for word, and then I'll work with that. So it's like I come at it from a bunch of different angles.
Are you memorizing it, or you're just knowing it because it's from you?
They're memorized, and so both. There's no real good like. Yes, they're memorized, but then also once you get memorized, then you try to. What am I trying to say here? It's good to like put a joke away and then bring it back, because then you know the beats of the joke, and then it comes out of you.
Because it's an art.
Yeah, oh yeah. It is the most beautiful art form on the planet, because it is the most honest art form on the planet. Like if I painted a picture, you could be like, hey Josh, that's a beautiful picture, and you'd be completely full of fucking shit, right?
Right.
But if you're in the audience and you do not laugh at my joke,
that's real.
Yeah, that's real. And it's immediate feedback. So that's why I like it.
And when they don't laugh at a joke, because this is tough, right? You're on stage and the joke's not laughed at, and you think it was funny, and so now you've got to roll into the next joke or the next segment of your jokes. Mm-hmm. And does that change the way, and I have to make an assumption it is, but does that change the way you're delivering the next one? Because now you're like, God, I just kind of got kicked in the balls, but man, this next one's funny. But now, are you in a downward spiral at this point, or are you like you know what, that you guys didn't think that's funny? Watch this, I got something else in my hat.
Hold on, I got to finish how I get into comedy. So I killed. Hold on, I will answer that question. But how I got into, so I killed, and I'm like, I'm going to go back to the open mic, and like I can totally do this. And I went to the open mic the next day, or not the next day, the next week, and I ate the biggest, fattest fucking dick that you could ever eat. I don't think I got a single laugh, and that is when I fell in love with it. Like I'm like, there's like I got to figure this out. I got to figure this out. But to answer your question about the
wait, hold on, because you just said that. So you just basically ate the biggest turd, right? Mm-hmm. No one laughed. You walk off, and you're like, because how long is open mic at this point?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So you walk off, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, I mean, because the celebrity thing went awesome, and now I didn't get a single laugh. What happened there? Like what? How is that possible? And I learned how it was possible.
Yeah, I didn't deliver the joke properly.
Yeah, I mean all kinds of different things. The crowd, the
different
energy in the room, a club show or a show is usually half women, because the women are bringing their dates to the comedy show, and an open mic is all dudes. They're either there to support their buddies or to not support their buddies, or whatever reason.
I never even thought about that.
It's a completely different audience than a club show as well.
Yeah.
But to answer your question about a joke not landing and being able to move on to the next thing, when you're early, when you're just beginning, yes, it can be very difficult, and you can keep like plummeting after it doesn't land. But once you have a portfolio of jokes, that's why I send a little bit of a premise to see if it gets a laugh, and then I can go in. If it doesn't, I can go into material I know is going to get a laugh. So it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't rattle you anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like it's got to be so like disheartening when you're up there telling your.
Oh, it can be.
I don't want to say your story. Your jokes are stories, right? But you're up there, and all of a sudden you're expecting like, where is it? Yeah. You're expecting that, and you get.
So I was just on the road, and night
Justin's
one,
like, why is that even plugged? Why is he allowed to do that?
Night one, I did great, and the second night we're in a different venue, and I just sucked,
Yeah.
So.
But it might not. But I mean, it might not have been that you sucked. It might have been like you said, the audience, just the vibe wasn't the same. But like at the end of the day, like you walk off and you're like,
literally the spacing in the room changes it.
So how often are you doing comedy now?
I tried to do a professional show twice a month.
Oh, wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. So 24 a year you try to do.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah.
And that came like when I had to refocus on coming out of COVID. I had to really refocus on the business. So we brought a lot of stuff in-house. Like now we do all of our own sheet metal fabrication in-house. We brought the ability to print the magnets in-house. Like we did a bunch of this all at once because we had to. So I had to kind of reallocate my focus.
Okay. I love it. So we have some questions from the audience that we just started in season 4. So I'm going to ask you a few of them, and I think I might have deleted.
Where do I put this for more wine?
You just lean it over here, and I pour it for you. If it was Watch this. If it was bottoms up, it wouldn't be empty.
Yeah, I could have filled it already.
Okay, so one of the questions from the audience is, which is scarier, pitching a new product to investors or performing a brand new joke in front of a live audience? Well, that's a great question.
That is a great question. They're the same thing. I don't think the one's scarier than the other. It just depends on. So if it's new material in either one, it's going to be scarier. If it's seasoned material, like after you've been pitching it, it's good, it's much less scary.
Yeah.
So,
no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
they're the same. So building up my stand-up comedy was exactly the same as building up the company. And really, I got to the point with stand-up comedy where I say you have to walk through the desert to be successful, right?
Yeah.
You got to take the walk through the desert. And with Bottoms Up, I am almost at the other side of the desert, like really, truly. And with stand-up comedy, I was just starting my journey through the desert. And I'm like, I really don't want to be walking through 2 deserts at once. Like that doesn't sound. Yeah. I did an 8-hour run to do a show at an Elks Lodge. So I drove 8 hours one way, so 16 hours to do a show at an Elks Lodge, and I got back and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I? You know how much I could have done for Bottoms Up,
right?
With that 16 hours.
And you're the CEO of Bottoms Up,
correct? Yes.
And so, how much time do you spend a week with Bottoms Up, or do you not want to share that?
I'd be happy to share that. It depends on the week. Right now, it's nothing less than a 14-hour day.
Okay. Yeah, so you're still putting in the time.
I mean, it's at a critical phase. Like it's growing really quickly. So COVID almost put us out of business. Like where we were like, that was a whole nother.
You and many other companies. The last podcast, we had, his name's Donnie, and he owns a security company, which is actually one of the best security companies in the Midwest. In my opinion, the best in North America, EPS, but that doesn't matter. I'm not trying to give him a shout out, but he wanted to start his company in 2019 is when the company was, the concept was, but then COVID hit. So he had to wait until basically.
Nobody needed security.
Yeah. He had to wait till after COVID, but can you imagine he still kept that vision and that dream alive and then came in at 2022 and freaking crushed it. Yeah. So I get that this happens. We have people on the show all the time that I hear when they're like, oh yeah, COVID really hurt us. Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. Especially when you're just starting out.
Well, and you're in the restaurant and bar industry or event space industry.
Yeah.
We lost almost all of our event space business.
Yeah, overnight. And then when it's over, then they're like, we don't know if we want that back.
Well, yeah, that's so when arenas and concert venues started firing back up, they didn't put draft beer on. A lot of them ruined their draft beer lines because if you leave draft beer in them, it destroys them. So they had to switch to bottles and cans.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, another question from the audience. With Bottoms Up now in venues around the world, what's been the most surreal place or moment where you saw your invention in action?
That would be Schlossfeld in Norway.
What a great question. Norway.
Yeah. So it was a concert venue it's a festival in Norway on a castle grounds that I may be getting the dates wrong.
Doesn't matter.
They had built a replica of the castle tower 700 years ago. So the replica was 700 years old or some shit like that. But I just remember being like, God. And then we broke into the concert venue that morning and watched the sunrise. Like that was awesome. So we broke into like the beer trailers and got beers and watched the sunrise at the top. It's like at the top of this peak in Norway. It was really cool.
Yeah, I'm visualizing a 700-year-old building and just overlooking everything, and everyone's drinking beer.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And it's your beer.
Definitely the most surreal spot.
Is there a beer that you don't want in your glasses? You're like, but I'm not going to answer that.
I can't answer it.
No, and just delete that question. That was not from the audience.
No,
that was from
beer.
Darin.
Put any beer in.
Put any beer in there. Hey, listen, we've been at this a little over an hour, and I know you're busy, and I try to keep it at an hour out of respect for your time. Do you have anything that you want to add that we might have missed? And then I've got a little gift for you before you go, because you're an everyday GSD guy, clearly. Do you have a message to the audience?
Don't do it.
Let me rephrase the question. Do you have a message for the audience in the everyday GSD lifestyle?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, don't do it. I love it.
You're gonna stumble from one failure to the next, and
No, but isn't that what it's about, man? I mean, seriously, that's what it's about. I mean, I'm not going to recap the whole show, but like, let's not kid ourselves. You were 24 years old. You were indicted on an extremely, it's extremely sensitive case, steroids that you were involved with, but you really weren't, but you were. And then all of a sudden you're trying to go on your honeymoon. You're going to get married. Like shit's falling apart around you. And because of these failures, you create this idea that someone, your father, tells you this is never going to work, and you're like, challenge accepted, and then you go after it and you create this product, and then you're hustling around the country, and now this product's around the world, and you're still hustling at 14 hours a day while you're still doing a passion of comedy, because that's how you're surviving. I mean, yeah. So I mean, don't do it, or you know what?
No, do it.
Let's man up and do it.
It's all about looking for the. So, how am I trying to say this? Somebody once told me while I was complaining to them about my life, you can find bad anywhere, and that really hit me pretty hard. But I didn't realize it at the time. It was a while later where I kept like playing that, and then eventually that turned into, you can find good everywhere. And I just try to look for the good in every situation. So every time something bad happens, it could, it's like that Alan Watts. Have you seen the Alan Watts, the farmer thing? Like where he's like, you know, we lost our horse.
Right.
You know, and they're like, the villager's like, oh, that's too bad. He's like, is it? You know, and then the horse comes back with the other horses. He's like, oh, that's awesome. We're like, is it? You know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
about? I know
about?
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So that's just it. You know, like just look for the good in it.
Yeah, look for the good in it.
Yeah.
Glass half empty, or is it half full?
It's all the way full in my book.
It's all the way full in your book.
From the bottom.
Yeah.
From the bottom, bottoms up. Thank you for being on the show. I got the shirt for you right here. Everyday GSD. You're a true everyday GSDer. You've been doing it, I'm going to say since 24 years old, but I bet it's before that.
Probably.
But you've been crushing it, and keep kicking ass. And any way I can help you, or the show can help you promote and push any of your comedy or the product. I've got some friends in the industry, so I'll see how I can help you out, brother.
Sweet. Thanks,
I
man.
appreciate you. And here's a little shirt. We'll take some pictures after.
Boom.
Thank you. Appreciate you. And thanks for your time.